Well, welcome to the Business Spotlight series. My name is Tanner O'Brien. I'm a senior partner here at Action Coach in Central Texas. Today, I'm sitting down with my guest, Alex Wu, who is the co-founder and CEO of Bao'd Up, a Chinese restaurant chain here in the Austin market. So excited to be jumping in, Alex. I just want to say thank you for taking the time to be here and kind of share a little bit of your story and tell us a little bit about what y'all are up to, that sort of thing. So, why don't we just start with a little bit of background? Tell us. Let's start with the simple. Tell us about the business. What is the business? And then we'll kind of take a step back and talk about kind of your journey or background that led you into co-founding this business.
Sure. So the company name is Bao'd Up. We are a Chinese restaurant chain or a food brand here based in Austin, Texas. We are super focused on Bao Buns. If you haven't heard or tried, it's a very popular food staple in China or across Asia in general. I mean, we're in Texas, so maybe an analogy would be a steamed kolache.
Mm.
But it's actually very delicious. A lot of flavors, and we are very passionate about what we're doing. So we just trying to introduce this really awesome food to more people, to more communities here in Texas.
Beautiful. And are you only in the Austin market at this point, or how many locations do you have?
We have three locations in Central and the South Austin, one in Mueller Park area, one in Sunset Valley, so that's south of the river, and then a third one will be on the east Riverside. We do have a food stand in the Q2 soccer stadium. So if you ever go to watch a soccer game, you can find us in the stadium, and bring your kids along because kids eat for free. Every kid can grab a bao bun. Because I feed my kids with my our food every day, so it's pretty awesome. We also have a factory, or called a central kitchen, where we centralize the production of these bao buns. The central kitchen is based a little bit north of Georgetown, so actually in Gerald. I'm actually right now in the facility. I'm here every day to make sure that these bao buns look perfect. So yeah,
Amazing.
pretty
I
proud of
love
it.
it. That is so fantastic. So tell me, or give us a little bit of sense on kind of what's been your journey. How did you get into founding this business? But yeah, give us the background. Like what led to the start of
Sure,
this business?
sure. I have a very interesting, I want to say, untraditional story, because I grew up in China, and I went to engineering college in Beijing. And I immigrated to the US in 2009. I got my master's at Michigan, University of Michigan. So I majored in electrical engineering. So I moved down to Austin because I got a job offer at National Instruments. So that was my first job. So I spent actually 8 years in tech companies, semiconductor companies, Silicon Labs in downtown was my last stop. But yeah, I mean, I've been doing engineering, did some technical, I guess, marketing, sales. I've been traveling between China and the United States, and I enjoyed it. I guess until I was approached by my partner, which was my neighbor at the time. He's a very successful restaurateur here in Austin. He owned a few restaurant concepts, very successful. And then he approached me with this idea that we should make these amazing bao buns, and then make it available to everyone here in Texas, in the United States. And I guess for me, I'm not necessarily a foodie, but growing up in China, I would eat these bao buns every day, because that they are just like the staple breakfast items, pretty much. So I think that resonate with me very much. And also the business is very scalable because I guess our operation is built on top of a central manufacturing facility where we can standardize the quality control, food safety, everything. So I think coming from a kind of tech background, I think I want everything to be as perfect as possible, and so that you can copy and paste, right? So you get all these, because I think that's very important for food. Food consistency is really the number one thing that people are looking for. And I guess historically, for Chinese cuisine, having that consistency has always been challenging because it's a lot of stir and fry, kind of wok handling, right? But the cool thing about steamed bun is, they're so kind of uniform, and then the way you cook them is by steam them up. So and it's a very, very, I want to say, easy and almost like a forgiving way of cooking, because you won't overcook or burn something. Steam is just it's just very, very gentle. And also, as I mentioned, bao buns are like a cloud cheese, right? So it's just very convenient. You can grab something and then eat it on the go. I think that fits the American lifestyle very, very well. So that's why I decided, okay, let's do this. We opened our first restaurant in Mueller back in 2017. So it's been quite a journey. I quit my full-time job in 2019. Started really I was all in on this. And then the COVID hit. So it was it was kind of bad time. But we survived. We're still here. We're thriving. I mean, we're working on a lot of exciting things to really bring our bao buns to more people to try.
Man, that is such a journey. And the pivot from electrical engineering to just being in, tech companies, things like that, and then hey, we're gonna get into, restauranting, which, as I'm sure you can probably, share stories on, is
Yeah.
a likely a very different industry to be in.
Yeah.
Uh, so I guess, yeah, I'm just genuinely curious, what was that transition like? To say, all right, we're starting this thing 2017, couple years later, actually saying, all right, I'm gonna go all in. We're getting rid of the full-time job, and now we're into this thing. What was that? What was that like for you? Did you have a bit of fear? Was it, was there a little bit of a, I don't want to call it a safety net, but was it a little bit easier having a co-founder that had some experience in the space and things like that? But
Yeah.
what was that experience like in making that big of a pivot or transition in just like industries and things that you're a part of?
I think you're exactly right. I felt very comfortable because I was very we my partner and I, we kind of got along really well. We knew each other for years. Our kids are around the same age, so I trust him a lot and know that he's a very smart guy, and he's willing to learn, right, to adapt. I want to say we complement each other a little bit because he's more like a street smart and more on the book smart side, right? So you kind of work together. But yeah, if I don't have any like a culinary or kind of restaurant partner, I wouldn't go into this like blindly. I think the again, I'm not like, I guess what's really appealing to me is that it's the fact that we're not opening a pizza restaurant or Italian restaurant, because I mean, yeah, you can make good money, that's a good business, but I think fundamentally, Bao Buns, um, it's to a point where it's a little kind of symbolic, where I kind of want to really I kind of see a little bit myself and my partner and all of the kind of Asian immigrants in it, right? We're here in the US, right? I guess we have our tradition, but again, we really appreciate the opportunities here in the US that we get to as entrepreneur to you know to create something, right? To
Mhm.
express ourselves, but also to create value for others. I think that's what fundamentally been driving me because the pandemic is really, really hard. Um, you know, to say that we never thought about quitting is a lie, right? So I guess during those moments, you just kind of have to um, look back and then remember, what got you started. Um,
Mhm.
but I think, yeah, I never kind of regretted the decision. I mean, yeah, it's a big pivot, but I mean, I learned a lot, right? I learned a lot. I think it's not. I guess I learned a lot about the business, but also about myself. You know,
Mm.
uh, like your what you're good at, what you're bad at, um, like the real world, right? Working with kind of restaurant staff versus kind of working with uh, like in tech company, engineers. They're very different, but they are. I mean, they're all people. Just different people. Everyone's different. So I think I enjoyed the journey, uh, and I'm still very hopeful. I'm working really hard, you know, to, to be more successful. But I think at the minimum, I think we've created a brand um, that's kind of well known because we've been really focused. I guess if you search for Bao, I guess put that in Google or Google Map. Not many people will type, search for Bao, but if you do, we're the kind of the only one, that pops up, because we specialize in that. That's really our passion. That's our that's our soul. I feel like the soul of the brand.
I like that. I had a couple of questions that came to mind. So we'll start with um, competition. How do you look at competition in the marketplace? Because you can kind of look at this from like, are there others that directly compete with you? Same product, same kind of similar business models, things like that, versus just the general, I don't know, food or restaurant market as a whole. People can choose to put their dollars in
Yeah,
any different type of meal or cuisine that they're interested in.
right.
How do you kind of look at competition and continue to separate yourself from what competition could be?
Right, right. I mean, we don't really have a lot of like direct competitors if we were talking about kind of Bao as a category, because it's just very niche. But there is a brand, I mean, they're on the national level. It's called a Wow Bao, WOW, Bao. I mean, like they do a really good job actually. Um, but I think they recently pivoted to kind of frozen CPG. So they're in
Mm,
a lot of Walmarts. I think at one point during the pandemics, they started this kind of dark kitchen, ghost kitchen concept where other restaurants could sell their thing. So they would
mm,
provide again, Bao Buns are really easy to handle, right? They're frozen and then you steam them. So they opened a dozen locations, in Austin, but only available through online delivery platforms like Uber Eats, DoorDash. Um, but I guess the flavors, I guess they didn't maybe spend they didn't focus on the flavors. And also, it's always challenging when other people are handling your food, right? So
mm,
I don't think they got a very good like reviews, the food weren't received very well. So I think they kind of exited most of the kind of Austin area. So um I guess we are a very small brand, and we just want to make some, very good bao buns. I think for Bao, I do know that they work with, kind of big kind of co-packers. Uh, they don't really make the buns themselves, but for us, we couldn't find a co-packer that meets our standard. So that's
Mhm.
why we do that ourselves, even though it's very, very capital heavy. So it's been bootstrapping till now. I guess we're trying to raise some capital, but still, I mean, over the years it's been just me and my partner bootstrapping. So that's really challenging, but it's worth it because I think we get to control our food, the recipe, every little detail because these bao buns are proved dough. Okay, so they're not like dumplings where it's like a wrapper. Um, so these are like almost like a sourdough, like
Mhm.
how
Yep.
tricky it is, to make sure that you don't overproof or underproof. So it's really tricky. Um, but I guess we're proud to say that we are the experts. I mean, even though you cannot be perfect all the time, so you get complaints, but I guess we have been making improvements,
Mhm.
every. I think I'm really proud of the team, of kind of what we've been doing. But
Nice.
I guess, to kind of go back to your question, kind of the competition. So right now, I don't really see, um, I guess, a it's not like we are a pizza brand where we have direct competition, but I do think that restaurant at the end of the day, it's a very, very kind of location driven business.
Mhm.
So I mean, we have great locations. I think in the Mueller one, the one at Sunset Valley, the Riverside, I think they're great locations. I would think, if other brands, were to go in and then kind of operate well, I think they would do well. So I don't think that we are like at a point where like we are sought after by consumers because we're just not there yet. It's not like we are kind of crumble cookies where a new one opens, everyone would go in, but someday maybe. So right now I think we focus more on just the community, right? The demographics out there, because we do have a lot of families, uh, coming, frequent our restaurants because Bao Buns are actually very, very, kids friendly. Uh,
Mhm.
it's not, you won't get messy at all, because it's all kind of very self-contained. Um, so I guess competition wise, actually, I would rather see all of my neighbor restaurants as partners, because it's really because you wouldn't be able to eat the same thing every day. But if you go to that area very often, then you do want a
Mhm.
variety of choices, right?
Yeah.
So in that case, you actually you would prefer, to have more like well run, well beloved restaurants, right? Because it's actually it's that synergy. I think that would drive business. I don't think we're taking other people's business or the other way around. I think it's if we all do very well, then customers are happy and all of us are making good money. Our employees are happy. So I think that's a positive kind of feedback loop.
I like that. I like that a lot. The just generally having locations around other, successful restaurants and things like that. Just the general eyeball and foot traffic and things like that come about by having, those in place. So as you look out for like the next 3 to 5 years and kind of get excited about where the business is headed and all that kind of stuff, give us kind of a quick cast of the vision. Like what do you see? What are you most excited about? But where's this business headed in the next 3 to 5 years?
Sure. I guess one thing that I want to say kind of set us back was the fact that we had so many directions that we could, go pursue. I think even during COVID, I think we were so ambitious, and then we were too ahead of ourselves. At one point, we had five restaurant locations, during at the peak of the COVID. So, I mean, looking back, I guess with the knowledge we have now, we would be able to handle five restaurants for sure. But I think back then it was just too much. And we had a central kitchen to run. We had five locations. We didn't know much about, culture or, managing restaurants, managing people. So I think that's what set us back. So now we have three restaurants and a central kitchen. But I want to say, um, I guess the biggest opportunity I want to say short-term wise would be to go into kind of retail, kind of grocery stores. I mean, we could start with like a local grocery chains. A few years ago, I think we worked with Royal Blue a little bit. I think that went pretty well. But I think, in the future, in the near future, I think we're looking at probably potentially, Whole Foods or HEB, right? Because with the manufacturing capability, like we have a lot of capacity. Like we have a lot of capacity, really. Like, we can make a lot of Bao Buns, but we we just need to find, more channels to sell these Bao Buns, right? Um, so that's the short term. I think the second half of the year really is where we're gonna try to explore more on those channels, and then figure out how we can, I mean, there are certain process you have to go through. I mean, again, like we did a lot of research, a lot of the work already, so we kind of know, what the next step is. But yeah, short term wise, going to retail, we could do some like direct to consumer, national shipping. We have all those. We could potentially sell to other like restaurants, or food service venues like, hotels.
Mm.
There are a lot of, you might maybe a few months down the road, if you go to a hotel, you might see some of the, Bao Buns, that probably, they're provided by us. I think that's a possibility too. But I want to say long-term wise, we really want to open more restaurant locations. And I think franchise is the way to go for us, because we want to focus on the infrastructure, the back end where, we control food quality. And then, but I think there are a lot of like good operators out there, who work really hard, and who would appreciate how simple it is to run a concept like Bao'd
Mm.
Up. So, 2, 3 years down the road, we started having some conversations now, with potential franchisees, but again, not in a rush, because we've made that mistake before where, you open too many restaurants, you couldn't handle, right? So, we don't
Mhm.
want to really rush it. But if we do find a very, very good like operator, we would have considered it, because we have that kind of back end all figured out. We just need a operator kind of partner, to kind of run the restaurant. Um, so yeah, long term, super long term wise, I mean, midterm, we want to open more restaurants in Texas, because again, we want to focus on the Texas market. But long term wise, definitely, nationwide. Um, but that's really, you know um, way ahead of ourselves.
I like it. It's fun to kind of go through the different iterations of what kind of the future could be, from getting into bigger retailers, grocery chains, things like that, to direct to consumer, to like just multiple corporate locations versus franchising.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
always a big fan of franchising. You know, we're a franchise ourselves, all that kind of stuff, and
Yeah.
yeah, there's some cool things that come along with each one of those. So it's kind of cool to hear the thought patterns and kind of where you all might be headed. You know, there may be some opportunity down the road for those that are watching to become an operator. You know, that sort of thing. But well, that's fantastic. And Alex, I know we've covered like a ton of ground here so far today. As we start to kind of wrap up, I've got a few rapid fire questions. I love to just kind of bring out some, we call them wisdom nuggets for the audience. You know, they can
Yeah.
take some highlights and run with them.
Yeah.
So we'll go through a couple of these here.
Yeah.
When you look at kind of your journey so far, what would you say for you has been kind of your key to success?
I guess I'm not really successful at this point by any means, but I guess we are not out of business yet, right?
I
So
was gonna say, come on now, you're
so,
in business for what, almost 7 years now. You're still
so
here, made it through COVID. Come on, that is success.
So I want to say, perseverance is definitely key. I don't want to say, like, oh, if you're tired of something or if you don't feel like you have the passion anymore, you should quit. I want to say, I want to encourage, I guess, small business owners or founders out there, um, I guess if you work on it for long enough time, that means um, there's something that kind of keeps you going. So and it's not like the grass is always greener on the other side, so and just hang there and then um, work through it, hustle, do whatever um,
Mm,
to get to the other side of the tunnel. Um, and then you'll discover a lot of other opportunities kind of along the way. I think perseverance always pay off. Uh,
mm,
I think so. So I think that's really what when I look back, I think that's something that I want to continue doing. I don't want to just start something without like really finishing off. I mean, even that means like we, shut it down. You have to shut it down in the right way.
mhm.
You have to like,
Yeah.
finish it.
Um, I like it. Yeah, I think I had a mentor or something like that once tell me that, you know, sometimes success is just being able to stay in the game long enough. So yeah, I absolutely agree with that. How about advice? If you could give just one simple piece of advice, that doesn't have to be simple, but one piece of advice for other entrepreneurs out there that
Yeah.
you could leave them with today, what would be one piece you'd want to leave with them?
Yeah, I think one thing that again I learned about myself too. I don't know if a lot of our other founders kind of um, behave or make decisions the same way. But I used to think about either the past or the future too much, and I kind of overlooked um, what needs to be done at the moment, and really just focus on getting something done, just execution, um, because you cannot really predict um, the future based on past experience. So, may as well just focus on the problem at hand and maybe be a little data driven.
Mm,
Get some advice from someone who's done it before rather than um, trying to prove to other people or the world that you can always make the right decision, right? So there's no need for no need for ego, I guess. Once you're, I guess that's kind of what I learned. Really, it's not about ego. It's about just how do you make the right decision? It doesn't have to be your decision, right? It could be your partners or your employees. So whoever has the best idea wins.
mm,
Maybe not just ideas, but execution. Ideas are
yeah.
important. Execution is important too. So I want to say, yeah, just focus on, what's kind of bothering you right now. But yeah, like prioritize, try to knock out the most urgent or the most critical thing that's blocking any progress, right? Just and then work with your team and then solve some problems. And then tomorrow is another day. But still have a long-term vision that keeps you going, because every morning when you wake up, you want to feel optimistic, excited about going to work, right? If you don't feel that way, then something's wrong, I guess.
I like it. How about book recommendations? If you could leave just one book recommendation, it can be a book, audiobook, could be a I don't know, it could be a podcast or something else if you're not a huge reader. But a recommendation you give to the audience that they can go and continue to be on their journey of education and all that fun stuff.
Yeah, I do read a lot, but I think recently I just got really busy, so I didn't read as much as I would like. But I want to say there's a short read. I think it's called the Dip, DIP. I think it's Seth Golden. He's like the marketing guru. But it's a very short book, short read. It really talks about, you know, when is the right time to quit. And the right time is not, it's never, the right time is never when you are struggling. So the right time is either before you start, right? Or, when, you fail. But when you are struggling, it's called, the dip. I guess that's where you need to try to stay in the game, don't quit. And then you get something out of it, regardless, just
Hmm.
by being there. So I think, for anyone who's, because I know, it's a lot of small businesses are kind of struggling. I think, the macro, picture is not, it's not that bright, right? So I think a lot of industries are being affected. So I guess that's really my advice for a lot of the founders or business owners out there, just to hang in there. I think read the dip, and also for sure, I guess the Elon Musk, the new book about Elon Musk, because I'm a huge fan of the author, Walter. I read a lot of his books, so
Mm,
anything that he wrote, it's a worth a read.
I
Yeah,
love it. I love it. There's definitely something to be said about being mindful of being in that, call it struggle, frustration, the hard part, because
yeah.
that's where all of the growth happens is when we're uncomfortable. So I absolutely love that. So before we get to the final question, I always like to end kind of these conversations on for those that are watching that want to learn a little bit more, that want to connect with you, that want to actually stop in and check out one of these Bao Buns and everything else. Where can we advise them to go for more information?
Yeah, I think our Mueller location is very convenient. There's the Mueller Park, there's the farmers market, I think on Sundays, right? So just go to our Mueller location, check us out. I think we're not as visible because there's so many restaurants out there, but we are right under Alamo Draft House.
Hmm,
So check us out. Or if you live in like South Austin, go to our Sunset Valley location where we have a bigger menu, more. I think we offer not just bao buns, but more like traditional kind of American Chinese, like a fried rice. We have our take on it. So I think those taste pretty good. We also have boba, for all the kind of young crowds out there, go to our restaurant, grab a boba with your friends, just have some fun. Um, and for sure, if you ever go to a soccer game, um, the stadium is phenomenal. The fans out there. Have you been?
I have not yet. It is on my
Okay,
list of things to do yet. But no, I like my ears perk up. I'm like that. It's like
okay.
the third time I've been told that I need to make sure that I, go and check
Yeah,
it out and all that kind of stuff, and I just
yeah, the
haven't gotten to it yet.
experience. Yeah, the experience. I think, it's pretty awesome. Yeah, yeah. It's worth going for sure. But yeah, I mean, or find me on LinkedIn. Connect with me. We can grab lunch at one of the restaurants. I'm down for that. Um, yeah.
Amazing. Well, I will be sure to put all of that in the video description below. For those of you that are watching, go check it out. Check out the locations. I'll probably put like website things like that in there so they can kind of find everything. And then, of course, go on LinkedIn and actually send a message. Say, hey, Alex, saw you on the Business Spotlight. Great conversation. One of my favorite things when it comes to the Business Spotlight is actually connecting other businesses here. So if you're watching this later on, make sure you take the moment and actually connect with some folks, that sort of thing. So as we wrap up, I have one final question for you today, and then I'll let you go, right? But final question I always like to end on is, what is most inspiring to you today?
Today, so we have a new hire started today at our central kitchen, and again, it was first day, right? I didn't really expect much, but there was one equipment you know um, that's not working. It just happened, from time to time. And then so me and my some of my staff, we were trying to debug, trying to resolve. And then this new employee, um, she didn't just stand on the sideline. She was kind of offering some of her insights, and uh, trying to help out. I just find that very, very inspiring, because I think if everyone, I guess business owners or employees, it doesn't matter if you work for yourself or you work for others, if you can be proactive, right, and then just be, I guess, curious. Um, I think that makes a lot of difference, uh,
Mm,
because now there is a very kind of positive. Um, I guess you're creating a very positive space, right? Everyone's, again. There's no like right or wrong advice. We don't want to make anyone who feel uncomfortable, speaking out, right? But I think this is really I think it's inspiring, because on her first day, she's showing um, taking initiatives. Um,
mm.
that's kind of how we move forward. It's just you have to do something. You have to take some initiatives. That's how we get the ball rolling.
That's really cool to see, and clearly a good hire, which
Yeah,
is
yeah,
a
yeah. Good heart.
testament to what y'all do as well. So that is absolutely fantastic. Well, Alex, I just want to say thank you again. I know we could probably sit here and like dive into the journey even deeper, but I just want to say thank you for taking the time. It's a pleasure to get to know a little bit more of the journey and a little bit about the business and all the amazing things that are on the horizon as you continue to grow. So thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you, Tanner, for the opportunity. Yeah. Appreciate